I definitely feel like taller, I guess, instead of hunched over. But
Well, I don't know. You might need to go up. I think it might need to go up even one more.
I want to try it. I mean, why do you think I need to go up?
Because you're looking like you're bent over a little bit.
Alright,
Does that feel any different? You feel more awkward.
no, I don't think they feel. I think we'll try it like this.
I think that looks a little bit better.
I mean, I don't want to go too much higher.
I know. Then you won't have no weight to put on them. Well, until you get really out in the open and where you got some room, where you're really going to be walking straight, and then you get a little used to them too. So go show Mom, see what she thinks.
Let's see how. Are they even happening? I guess that wasn't as bad as.
Well, she's not in here.
Yeah,
I thought she was going. Kelly! Kelly! Oh, they went in the basement.
I thought that would be a little.
Well, you can edit this, can't you?
Yeah, I'm going to. I thought it'd be a little more. That wasn't as awkward as I thought it was going to be. And it was only two. Hey everybody, it's Kyle here. Welcome back to another video. As promised, this week's video is all about me letting you know how it's been going with my new crutches. What you just saw were the first few times I tried walking with them. It was very awkward, but I think I've gotten a little better. And this next part of the video is going to be me showing you the comparisons between my new crutches and my old ones. When you first look at the crutches, you can definitely tell a big difference. They're roughly the same height, so that's good. I just now compared them for making this video, and they're roughly the same height. But you can definitely tell that the Mobility Design crutch on the left is much bulkier, and that is something that I have been learning to deal with. And that's by the nature of the arm cradle and the way it's positioning you more upright. It is definitely more bulky. The other, well, that's a little bit of a con, but a big pro is the crutches, the tips on them. If I can zoom in, sorry for the pillow being in your way. They are much more shock absorbing, so that is nice. Then these, a big issue with these is the metal metal bottoms poking through after so much wear. You could definitely tell there's a lot more wear on these. It's probably better if you can see my face while I'm talking about the things I like and don't like about these crutches. Again, the big difference that I am learning is the bulkiness of the Mobility Design crutch. And again, that's just by the nature of having the arm cradle supporting your forearms. But it's definitely a little more difficult to place them somewhere. They do have rubber on the back of them. So if you're able to lean them up against something smaller like a table or a counter, they don't slide off. But my own personal issue that I'm having is I put them basically in a corner up against a wall. So they're much harder to get them to stand up. But if you can rest them on something that's a little shorter than them, then the rubber does work, because I've tried it out at restaurants. But here at home, it's not so much of a perk. Um, and as you can see, as you could see, the handles stick out and you grab them, and they have the capability, if you push the tops of them, like the knobs on the tops of the handles, you can push them away. And that is handy, but that's just something I'm not used to being able to do. So within the last week, and granted it's only been a week since I've been using them, I've been finding it difficult to open doors, especially if the handle to the door is lower than the height of my crutch, because they are heavier and sturdier. You can't just swing them out of the way as easily as my old crutches. So it's just becoming an adjustment to opening doors, going downstairs, and I know this will all get better as I continue to use them. It's just something that I'm not used to having to do. With my old crutches, I could just, they're very lightweight. They swing out of the way very easily. These are not as easy. The armbands that hold your arms in were very difficult to get my arms into them at first. Here, let me see if I can show you. As you can see, the way I have it best for me right now is they overlap. Well, they don't overlap. There are two, and you flex them and they open. I'm sorry for the shoddy camera work. Trying to do this by myself has been a little more difficult than I thought. So let me see if I can show you. So to get in, can I do it one-handed? Because usually I use both hands. And then I would fix the straps because they're not right, and I would pull down my sleeve. But when I first got them, one nice pro is you just pull out like that and they pop off. But they have been very difficult. Well, in the first couple days, it was very difficult for me to get my arms into them. Now that I have been regularly using them, though, it is becoming easier because they're becoming less stiff. One thing I have noticed is if I reach for something, it's sometimes if I'm wearing like a coat, because it's hot and cold here sometimes, and if I'm wearing a coat, my arms can pop out pretty easily if I'm reaching for something. Not while walking. I've never had an issue while walking with them, but if I'm stopping to reach for something, I've noticed they can slide out. I'm not sure if my forearms are bigger than the average user just because I've used the forearm crutches for so long, but if my arms were a little skinnier, I don't know that I would have so much of an issue. And don't get me wrong, my arms could pop out of my other crutches too, just not as easily. So it only happened a couple times, and I guess I should show you the best, well, what should be the best part, but isn't the best part yet, because I'm just not used to being able to do it. But hold on, and let me see if I could show you. Again, this would be super helpful if I had a cameraman so I could demonstrate it better for you. But the Mobility Design crutch is designed for the arm cradle to come out or come undone to give you some better range of motion. Let's see. Is it on this side? So, on both crutches, there is this switch. And if you pop it in, this is unlocking it. If I was to reach for something, the cradle... I'm sorry, this is a really bad demonstration, but the cradle unlocks. And when you want to unlock or relock it into position, you push it on the other side. Push it, it clicks, and now it's locked. It won't move. The cradle, well, I think it's nice in a way. I'm not. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to having that option. I have tried it a couple of times. I'm not the biggest fan, and they warn you not to do this in the video. There's some tips and tricks, an instructional video, and how to put them together video that I will link both of those down below. But in the tips and tricks, they tell you to never unlock your handles and spin them out while your hinge is unlocked. And that has happened to me, and I understand why not to do that. But it's definitely your range of for me trying to like reach in my pockets. The reason why it was undone, both of them were undone. The handles and the hinges, the cradle hinges, were undone together was because I was trying to unlock the door. I had to reach for my keys, but it was easier to unlock the cradle to grab my keys, and then I needed to move the handles out of the way to unlock the door, but I didn't have time to then. I guess I could have stopped, then did the cradle, then did the handle, and I'm just not used to having to do that. So I guess I'm going to have to be a little more patient with that. Here, let me see if I can, well, I will show you the handle. This is easy to demonstrate for you. So if I push this handle, I can move it out of the way very easily. You just tap it, bring it around. You can bring it all the way around, actually, and it locks back into place. Okay, I think I'm done demonstrating to the best of my ability. If you've made it this far, I apologize for how cringy that was. But that's one thing that I haven't mentioned yet. They're right and left specific, the M&D crutch. My forearm crutches, you can just swap them, grab either arm is what it is. The forearm M&D crutch, they aren't interchangeable. One is right and one is left, and you could tell by the blue and black dots on the top. You saw the black handle, that is the left crutch, and then the right has a blue. I have accidentally switched them. It was super awkward, and I quickly realized, hey, this isn't right. But that's just another something that I'm not used to having to worry about. So it's kind of thrown me off guard a little bit. But again, it's only been a week. There is one major thing that has been helped, I should say, and that is shoulder pain. I've mentioned in my mobility journey part 1 that I have been dealing with some shoulder pain. Now, I had some general soreness the first few days of using these because it's brand new position in walking, new crutches, standing up straighter, some general soreness. But now that I've been using it for a little over a week, it's actually been 9 days because today is Saturday. I've noticed that my shoulder pain has gone down quite a bit. So that is why, and that is kind of the main reason that I bought the M&D crutch in the first place. Um, was to deal with shoulder pain, and it has been helping. So it is, you know, I think mission accomplished. It's still kind of awkward. I'm still learning how to use them properly and effectively for me because I am not a short term um, mobility device user. I'm long term. So it's, I have to grow into them and get comfortable with them, especially because this is the first time I've ever had a new crutch um, that is like this, anything like this at all. Um, so you could definitely say that I'm having some growing pains, is what I would call it. Um, but I'm hopeful that those will subside, sooner rather than later, next couple of weeks. But I have to say, for the most part, for functionality and use in my life thus far, I would give the M&D crutch about a 7. Um, it's not perfect by any means, like I said, um, but it is doing the job that I wanted it to do, and that is deal with my shoulder pain. So if you are someone that is dealing with some chronic shoulder pain, these could potentially be for you. I will say they are not going to be for everyone. Um, they are not much more expensive than my other crutches. But I did see, I went and just bought them, but they do have a rental option. Um, but in my opinion, it was a little just as expensive to rent them as to buy them. But if you're someone that doesn't want to make a full-time commitment, maybe renting them is a good idea for you, just to test them out and see how it goes. Um, but I definitely will say I am happy that I bought them. Do I get frustrated sometimes? Oh, for sure. Trying to, you know, just get used to using them and using them properly, effectively for me in my life has been a bit of a challenge. So, especially, this isn't really a major thing, but like getting in the car, my other crutches, I could put them beside me in the passenger seat. These, you still can, but I found that it's better to put them in the back or in the trunk because of the arm cradle and the handle sticks out farther. So they don't fit as nicely next to me anymore. So I do have to either put them in the back or in the trunk just for space. Um, so if that's something, if you have a small car, maybe these aren't for you, or maybe you would definitely have to put them in the trunk, or maybe it's just me. You should never take this. Isn't this review isn't to say that it's a bad product. I think it's a well-made product. It's very sturdy. There's just things that you might not think about with using crutches that are different in everyone's lives. That some will work better for others. But I am definitely happy that I have purchased the M&D crutch, especially because it has been helping my shoulder pain. And that's something that I was really concerned about because I don't want to have surgery. So the fact that it has been helping, like, thrills me. So my knee is doing better. My shoulders are doing slightly better. Now, if I hadn't fallen a week ago, then my back wouldn't be bothering me. I think I'd be in okay shape, but until my back starts to heal. But anyway, you don't care about that. Um, but if you are someone who is a long-term mobility device user, I would recommend doing your research on these crutches to see if they are a good fit for you. And, I will see as I continue to use them how much, how much easier things will get. For only being a week out, I generally say, like I said, 7 out of 10. And hopefully we will get to a 10 out of 10 at some point. But thank you for watching. I will link the mobility design website down below, along with the instructional video on how to put them together and the helpful tips and tricks. And I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.